I think for time's sake, we could probably get started.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Recording wise, are you ready? Are you ready? Okay,
Ready?
okay, thanks. Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Now that we have quorum, we'll start with a roll call.
Brady Prosen present.
Shonda Foreman, Hill, president.
Emily Cunningham, present.
Would we were present.
Okay, moving on to public comment. Any public comment? Okay, celebrations and recognitions. All right.
Lovely to see you all this evening. New celebrations to share with you from across our district. So first, I want to thank several of the board members who were able to come and help us celebrate the dedication of the plaque for the gym.
There you go.
Thank you. So I know everyone wasn't able to be there in person, but we had a really good number of folks from our board, but also from our community, and people who have been really impactful in the history of Rapoport, and all of the road leading up to the gym getting started, and then people who have a lot to do with the actual gym itself coming up out of the ground, architects and construction crews. So you see a lot of those folks represented here, but we've done groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings, and now an official dedication with a plaque that is here pictured on the wall. And a thank you to those who, many of whom came well before Rapoport was established to help create an environment where Rapoport. So I have to say our thanks to these folks, and I want to say thank you to our board and impact that you have on bringing this to be. It was a really great little ceremony that we had. We got to tour some folks around, including some city officials. Show them around the new facility. So thank you. And even if we weren't able to be there, thanks for all the work you've done to bring this gym online for us this year. Next, great celebration of our middle school students. There's always a lot of happenings with high school, so many clubs and events and extracurriculars. And so there's always a lot happening with middle school too, but not quite as many travel abroad and go and show off all the things that we do at Rapoport. And so this is one of those that I get to celebrate with you today. We had 10 students who participated in the junior BASE competition. BASE was the visual arts scholastic event. And all 10 of them walked away with a gold medal for their artwork. So we're really, really proud.
Wow.
I want to say a special thanks to Sarah Becker, who's our teacher at the middle school, who has worked with these students through our art club. She teaches them in art also, but this is an extra thing that these students participated in throughout the year. And she, along with our high school art teacher, Mrs. Miller, took these students to the competition this past weekend. So really proud of them, their performance there. And the last thing I have for you is just to formally invite you to graduation. Our graduation ceremony is coming up on May the 22nd. I just worked on my newsletter for this week and put all of the edits for the rest of the year on there. And May 22nd is going to be here sooner than we think. Our graduation ceremony is once again this year at the Waco Convention Center. In the brass ballroom. That's where we were last school year for those of you who are able to be there. We really love to have our board represented there. And if you would like to be on the stage with us, we welcome you there. But if that is a reason not to come, is because you don't want to be on the stage, also invite you to just come and be in the audience. So one way or the other, we'd like for you to be there. We have a spot of recognition for you up on the stage, but would absolutely be fine if you just wanted to blend into the rest of the audience. But being present is really important to show this monumentous accomplishment that our seniors have done after many years hard work. So SJ is going to reach out and try to get formal numbers of who's able to attend. The event starts at 6 p.m., but we do ask our board members to be early enough to kind of be present and ready to process in if you're going to sit on the stage with us. So we'll give some more details about that in the video. Please mark your calendars with that. This is formal invitation to graduation. Excited to celebrate that alongside you. Everything's over to Ms. Whitlar.
All right.
Dr. Page is gonna come up and we have got a really special celebration for some really incredible students. One of whom is here. We're missing the, but Dr. Page wants to share about.
Yeah, so our GO at MacArthur for the last 2 years has been really strong, and it is so much in part of the work that they do. These ladies hold monthly meetings. They're there on time, prepared. They have helped with fundraising. They have helped with just building momentum and encouragement for parents to come into the campus. Our GO really is fantastic, and we've been able to do so much for teachers. And so we really just wanted to say thank you for all of your hard work. We would not be able to appreciate the staff on our campus without their work. And so they have put on quite an event this coming week, or for Teacher Appreciation Week. They have planned it down to the last detail. And so they surely make our jobs a whole lot easier for the campus and the flowing campus, sure. So
Come on up, Miss Shea.
come on up. We wanted to get our appreciation and your Rapoport. So Miss Shaper is actually a new parent, but this year,
Yeah.
and her kids and her family, they've been such a blessing to us. So
Aw.
so thank you.
Wow.
We'll give the other parent hers. Miss Maldonado can't be here tonight. She has some sick children at home. Sounds like that's kind of the going thing.
We'll share that.
Right now, but yeah, we wanted to celebrate them, and Dr. Page especially has been really thankful for work this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna take, yes.
Yeah, don't go.
The last one is our special observances and recognitions for this month, which, unless anyone already knew, this month is Texas Fruit and Vegetable Day, which is the first Friday in April.
There you
So,
go.
there we go.
Eat your fruits and veggies. It's important for your body.
So there's the information about Texas Fruit and Vegetable Day.
Let's take a second for some pictures. If the board would come right here in the middle.
It's very warm.
I
I think you should be right here.
Oh,
As you are.
Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2. Thank you.
Just reading your summary.
I didn't believe that this is before I. So, you give her that.
I know that one should be done. You're never off the clock. I know that. You're good. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. I think we're gonna jump ahead to item 3, the consent agenda. So if you, hopefully you've had a chance to review those materials. Do you have any questions about any of these items? We could pull it, or I'll entertain a motion to pass the entire consent agenda.
The only thing I did note was somehow the enrollment reports did not get on there. So I put those hard copy for you here. It's also in the drive. So if you need to go back and reflect over that. But the waiting list, if you look at the top, you can see the year. 25, 26 is current, 26, 27 is the waiting list for next year. So those are just informational for you. No action needed other than they're just received formally on the consent agenda. Everything else should have been there.
Move to approve the consent agenda. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Consent agenda items pass. Okay, let's keep going. Unless our grievance appearing family, the parties show up. So first we'll do a report from the parent representative. Ms. Olvera? You have anything? Nothing? Okay. Ms. Ramsey? Okay. Then we'll shift to the board committee reports, starting with finance. Either one you feel comfortable, I mean. Yeah.
Call on the auditor. Come on, auditor.
I mean, we reviewed our
Yeah,
position,
yeah, we just had discussion about, where we are, with YYY doing some advanced for us. We talked about, benchmarking, the fees in our brokerage account, doing that this summer, for the endowment.
we looked at the revenues and expenses
Yes.
and, we're in the black, but, mild cushion, nothing to like go spending yet, but the projections are looking
Yeah.
good. We're in a good position.
I would say we're looking stable,
Stable is a good word.
stable, not yet on the gap side, but
Yes.
definitely on the positive side. So that's good.
And we also just got our quarterly investment report for the endowment back and it was down 1.8%. I think it's just
Yeah.
mild. Yeah.
Which was,
It's still up double
for the year.
digits for
yeah,
the year.
still up double digits.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I think that the scholarships out, applications are out. I think that was the other thing. They're out, but they have not yet been received or evaluated. The campus will evaluate them. I think that was the last thing I talked about.
and the teachers know about those scholarship, the opportunities.
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. Moving on, does the District Improvement Committee have anything to report?
I think we sort of just briefly went over what we're gonna see in this strategic initiative update, so nothing to add to that.
Okay, and facilities, do y'all have anything to report?
We had a wonderful practication, this
That's
past
a big
Monday.
thing.
Yes.
We will be meeting again, but that was, one of the biggest things is getting that going. And we've talked about, what the art looks like that will be coming and maybe some ways to. So we'll be discussing that next meeting
For the history wall.
for the
Like,
history.
yeah.
Thank you for all y'all's efforts for the plaque. It's a big deal. I know it's a lot of work.
And we did get the velocity description mounted as well. So if you happen to be there for the plaque, when you walk underneath the sculpture, if you turn around towards the front door on the right, we've got the statement from the artist and kind of the inspiration and the justification and the name. So it's now posted there. And then we have the dedication on the inside. So next installment will be
History.
down the hall for the history wall.
Okay, superintendent report.
I just have a couple of quick things. One of them, kind of bigger, one of them is a heads up. So the special education funding is changing for next year and then the year after. Next year will be held harmless. So with this transition, if our funding would be going down, they're going to keep us at least where we are. If it goes up, then you get the better of the new funding. But it is a completely new model for how funding is going to be provided to schools based on the level, the tier, and the intensity of the service of the student. So Christina Fuller and I sat on a webinar, about 80% of it I was clocking with. I'm like, yes, I got it. And there's about 20%. I'm like, Christina, can you come back and teach me? So thankfully she's the expert on that. And so we're able to walk back through it, but there's a whole like form we have to use. There's a process we have to use in the summer. We have to save files. We have to upload them to the state. And their calculation is what tiers the students based on their funding and back from us. So we'll be working on that over the summer so that we can be prepared in the fall to do the first submission. We'll still submit it the current way, and we'll also have to submit it this new way, and we'll do that throughout the year. And then the year after that, it's only the new way. So at least we'll have a year to determine whether we're going to get more reimbursement or more coverage for kiddos with additional needs here in the district, or whether we're actually going to get a funding hit for reimbursement for some of those services. So I'll kind of keep you guys up to date as we move through the year next year, but we have to report 2 ways next year. And then the next year will be this new funding model. So that's a big one. Early estimates, we don't know. So based on the questions, there's still not even full understanding of what the funding is going to look like on the other side. And so we can't even really get an estimate for what the impact is going to be. So we're just going to do the process and then see how it goes on the other side of it. The other thing is about after school. So for a long, long time, Rapoport Academy has managed kind of its own after school program, but it wasn't really ours. We helped with processing payments, but we didn't really manage content or curriculum or anything like that. So over the last really year and a half to 2 years, we've started thinking about what we could do to ramp up our after-school programs, to make them more engaging for students and or more curriculum-based or more SEL development. And what we have come to realize is there's some really great programs and partners out in the community that already do this work. And after investigating, Katrina Thomas helped dig into several different programs that might be a possibility to bring in. And after investigating with them, they can actually provide more to our students at either less cost, depending on the family income in the household, or slightly more cost than what we're offering right now. So after investigating and going through everything, we've had an interview and talked with a couple of different groups, but we've made the decision at elementary to transition to Mentoring Alliance. It's a very common one. You've seen it lots of different places, I'm sure. Their sliding scale goes all the way from $7 a week per kid, which we're at 20. The max, if you have a 2-person household and you make above $125,000 a year, is $69 a week for our campus. It also picks up right at the end of school, or there'll be 2 sites, one at Fluellen and one at MacArthur. It runs till 6 o'clock, which right now we can only run till 5:30, and they provide a full meal within their program for the students. So lots of good things. They have an SEL, social and emotional learning curriculum. They do homework time. They do physical play. It's very organized and structured. They cover substitutes. So if somebody has to be out, they pull from another center to come manage that. As a school, we provide the space. They're going to do it on each campus, each elementary campus. They're going to bring in, they're really excited about coming in. So they're going to bring in 2 different locations for us. So as a school, we provide the space and we provide storage space. It's no cost to the school at all to offer this. They do their own enrollment, their own recruiting, they do their own discipline management, they do all of their own stuff on the other side of it. The only issue that we initially had was that they are not coming up to middle school. So we do have a very small, but it still serves some students, very small middle school after school program. It's about 15 students right now. So Katrina went back out and started looking around to see what we could do for those students, because we can't really run a program just for 15 students. And so there is Mission Waco that we're going to help advertise for. They run a 4-day-a-week program, but also the community center here has an after school program, and they said our students would be welcome to come to the community center's after school program. So there's still an on-site option here. And then also any other program that wants to pick up from here could pick up from here. So we've never limited that. And so those are some of the things that we're going to kind of work on over the next few weeks, is just to see what we can do for our middle and up, our 5th grade and up families, to make sure that they still have a place if they so choose to have a place. But it's no cost to the school, and a cost decrease or potential minor increase to families, and they get food and get to go till 6 o'clock. The other thing is there is a faith-based piece to it, but they also make sure there's an alternate, equally as exciting option for people who don't want to participate in the faith-based sessions whenever they do the rotation. And so they make sure that it's like no stress. If a family doesn't want their student to participate in that, they move through that. Yeah.
Is the after school care that teachers use or tend to use?
So- Yes.
So what for them, since you know their salary, what is that? Where do they go for the $20 a week?
Depending on how many are in their household. So I don't necessarily know how many they're clocking in their household. It's a little bit more, because we only charge staff $10 more. But when I estimated it'd be about 25, depending on how many people are in their household.
Right.
So it would be a nominal increase more.
I remember at one point about that being something we can make free for staff.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm. And honestly, if we're not having to chase down after school food or worry about that, maybe that's something that could free up funds or help in other ways where we could actually come back and supplement it.
At least cover the difference that they have to, they have to pay more.
Yeah. Or we could work with Mentoring Alliance on a cost share or something like that. So I think it's definitely something we could look into, but the quality of care and what's offered for families is a pretty dramatic increase.
And from a staffing perspective, do you foresee any staff who've relied on that additional income or?
So I've already talked with all of the staff that currently operate or participate in the after-school program. Several of them had already told us they weren't continuing next year. A couple of them definitely want to continue, and Mentoring Alliance has said, please, like, we want them to come with us. They'll talk to them, whether it's just like one of the rotational workers or whether it's maybe a site supervisor or something like that. They want to do that. Then Mentoring Alliance also would like to build in a high school mentoring program down where when the high school students get out of school, they can come over to the two sites and work with them. But I think that's kind of a step two, a phase two. So yes, they have said, if you have people that already are working and already know the kids and want to come work with us, we want them to come and work with us. So they're going to do kind of an active recruiting of not only the current after-school staff, any other staff that would want to come over. So there was a couple of things that they talked about. They really like the staff, the after-school staff. And they like the idea of the kids being able to stay till 6 o'clock instead of 5:30. So parents aren't scrambling as much and there's not as many late pickups for that. They like the idea of more of a meal instead of just a little simple snack. They really like the idea that right now, if one person's out, you potentially have all the students with one or two people. And so they really like the idea that Mentoring Alliance is owning the staffing and what that looks like and moving people over if they need to for that. So they recognized a lot of really good in that. And if they can still, those that wanted to, can still continue to work with them, which Mentoring Alliance has said, yes, we would love to have them come talk to us. It's kind of a win-win-win all the way around. Like I said, the only thing that I haven't solved yet is was trying to do with as little financial impact as possible and as big impact to our families as possible. But it does look likely that for staff, it might go for the handful of staff that we have using it. It might go from $10 a week to 20 to 30, 25, somewhere in that. And I've got the breakdown if you guys want to see that. Their sliding scale.
How are they gonna enroll? Usually we provide parents with paperwork when they're kind of getting their kids ready for school. So how will the new program roll out?
So their initial plan is May 1. They start their kind of advertising and enrollment for the next school year. And so they would come to campus. Our initial thought is that they would come into our after school program currently. And they would make sure that they had a flyer and a QR code and a way to register, and they would be able to answer questions as we kind of move forward and provide services. So they would actively recruit and enroll. I will say they definitely have all their stuff together because they do it in a lot of districts around town, even around the kind of greater Waco area. So that's their plan, is to come in and like offer an information session, offer in-person support if that's what they need, kind of direct, I say direct market, but like make sure that all the families that currently need it know what's there. And then we're also gonna make sure that families know it's step up day. So the kids going from 4th into 5th to make sure that they know what options they have for after school, because we don't have the traditional one here. And also when all of the elementary, those coming into pre-K, and then all the way up through current 3rd graders, that they also know the transition. And so we'll actually talk to the families right there. Any other questions on that? It's just, since it's really no cost to the school, so it's a decision that we've thought about and researched, and Katrina has researched as the parent liaison, right? Like walking through what students need and how we can help support, extend the day, but extend the day in a really quality way. So I'm really excited about the move and what it's going to mean for students in the student day, and for really kind of continued instruction and support and social emotional development, interpersonal skills, like all that sort of stuff. I think it's going to add a lot. So I'm excited about that. If you guys have any questions or want more information, mentoringalliance.com is their website. And it's the after school. They have like 3 different types of programs, but it's specifically the after school program that right now that they're looking at bringing in. They'd love to add on to the mentoring piece as soon as they can, but we're going to take it kind of one step at a time. So those are my 2 reports.
Okay, we will keep rolling. Item 5.1, strategic initiatives quarterly review.
Yes. I'm going to attempt. Try to get this up on the screen. It's also in the drive. But it is up on your screen. I dropped it in your folder so you'd have a chance to review it. But one of the things that the board has talked about is wanting to quarterly go in and review the strategic initiatives. And so there's a lot of information in this presentation that I'll just kind of walk through with you guys, just kind of again with the overviews a little bit. What this presentation gives you is right now we're wrapping up the end of a more intensive look on some of the strategic initiatives, but we also for the first time added in the new initiatives that the board created with the strategic plan in January. So as you look through here, sorry, this is my handout version, but as you look through here, you'll see the actions we're taking, what we've taken so far this year, the different step back meetings that we have. But then you'll also get direct feedback from the different, it's going to be page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You will also get individual updates on some of the initiatives as we've navigated through this year. So a couple of highlights. So our fall performance routines and spring performance routines, these are things we're going to duplicate, not necessarily the words, but the framework. As we move forward each quarter, you'll see these activities. So we'll establish calendars kind of in the first part of it, all the way through conduct the first step back, and then a board report, right? And then we'll move to the spring. So this would be an early spring. We do a board report, and then mid-spring we do a second or third technically board report. And then in the summer, once we get like accountability scores or test scores back, then you would have kind of your final report for that school year. So that's a model that we're going to continue. It's worked really well these last 2 years. And so we're going to continue that moving forward. So just in case, remind you again, that is our page. That's our strategic plan on a page, right? So it includes our HB3 goals, which is that middle kind of medium green color, just to keep us all in check, the mission, the vision, and most importantly, the student experience. So what we expect students to feel and experience every day when they're here at Rapoport Academy. And then the bottom part with the little bitty font, those are all the different initiatives that we either had with the academic strategic plan and or the new ones that we've created through the strategic planning process this fall. So a few of the updates on the initiative. So right now on the planning and performance management, so we've got a structured calendar. It's in your board drive if you ever want to go look at it. So we've got it broken down by month. It's in your general docs. And so that is continuing to be built. So as new initiatives come in or as new requirements or new reporting requirements or whatever it is, we're plugging those into that calendar. If you ever have things that you think we should look at, maybe every April or maybe every August, that's a great place to do it, because when we set up the board agendas, typically we run through that first and make sure everything's there. Sometimes things need to bump a month or up or back a month, but for the most part, we use that to kind of drive what topics we're talking about at the different meetings. So we've got that started and we've got that running and using that whenever we create the board agendas. The next one is streamlining onboarding. So we have job descriptions done. I've worked on job categories for those, but there was a little bit of a setback because our CFO was responsible for this task. And so we've kind of had to regroup and get things reestablished for that. But over the summer, we're going to continue to categorize those positions and build the onboarding lists, and then a checklist so that we know all the stuff has gotten done. We're also looking at building in, we're going to do it for parent orientation a little bit different this year, but we're looking at also doing it for staff where we do little videos so that no matter when a staff member comes on board, like here's 8 videos you have to watch that'll tell you all about Rapoport Academy or how to buy stuff, or how to request things, or about your technology, or whatever it is, your safety initiatives, like that sort of stuff. So we're working on that kind of over the year. It's not just for onboarding teachers, it's all staff. And so that's where the different categories of staff come into play.
So YYY does not do HR functions other than like distributing paychecks.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. They won't do the strategic side of things. So if we build in a system and tell them to monitor it, like make sure all these things get done, then they'll monitor it, but they're not building like the onboarding system. Okay, then you can see on the PPP. So Menifee kind of leads that one mostly, but this one we're partnering. We're sitting on the committee with Prosper Waco and working through some partnerships there. We recognize there's still challenges because most of the educational partner providers already have capacity openings. And so, for instance, Tarleton, Baylor, and Tech have all said, we would love to partner with Rapoport Academy as soon as we've exhausted our current partner need. then the next school we're open with will be Rapoport Academy. And so we will need to wait until Waco ISD, La Vega, Lorena, Robinson, and Midway, when they no longer have capacity to have student teachers or resident teachers, when they've filled everything that they have, and there's still candidates waiting, then we will be able to join in those partnerships. So we're going to keep close relationships so that when that happens, we are ready to go. I don't know how long it will take until they are full. And then they can have another partner from now. And however, the state is also working on digital providers. Region 12 is working on an alt-cert provider that would be a little more kind of like a hybrid between an online alternative certification and like an in-person alternative certification. So there's other partnerships that are opening up from that. So as we move forward, we're going to make sure the committee meets. The big thing is going to be prioritizing which of those three we want to really dig into first. And then next year is going to be about building up whichever of those three priorities is selected by the committee.
Can I ask, what's changed? Because I know we've always wanted to have student teachers. It's always been that way. It's like we're last in line. Is there anything that's changed or that's
So-
always been the case, right?
That's still the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still the case. We're a little bitty fish in a real big pond, and we have a couple of, I don't know how to continue that metaphor, right? So there's a couple of really big operators in this area that have a lot of big need. And so the issue that we've had before is we could take like 4 student teachers across the district versus 80. Plus enrollment in programs is down
Yeah.
dramatically.
Continuing metaphor, there's just less fish food.
Yeah.
For bigger districts. Programs everywhere are down, so they don't.
Yeah.
They're sending fewer people out, even to the.
Yeah, it just seems like if we've never had it. That seems not likely.
Mhm.
Is that right? I
Mhm.
mean, that we would get some.
I don't know, yeah, tech, I know a little tech and Tarleton's not working out, I'd say it's unlikely.
So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and we're going to keep a good relationship there. I really think the place where we're going to see the most likely growth in teachers is going to be in-house teaching assistants moving into teachers through an alternative certification program. We might be able to have high school students that continue that pathway and stay local and just kind of stay with us. But without that being like a whole pathway that we offer, we just don't have the ability to offer all of the classes that you would need for that. So one of the things that kind of leads me into this next one a little bit. So one of the decisions that we've actually made through the committee in our teacher incentive allotment next year is we want our teachers to be certified. That is the statement that we are making. We recognize we have high quality teachers who are not certified. And currently they would be eligible for teacher incentive allotment, but they're not certified. So we don't give them the money that they're eligible for. The school doesn't get it either, right? We just don't collect it right now. Well, the other day we were in a meeting and somebody said, yeah, you could use that as an incentive for teachers to get certified. And we were like, wait, what? So we started pressing into that. Come to find out, we can, if a teacher is high quality and has earned a designation, even if they're not certified, we can give them part of that money. And then we can say, as soon as you get certified, we can open it up for that next year, the next year after you get certified, and you can get all of the money that you would have been.
That part of the money is those agencies that they get the certification.
Well, so what we put in, so we talked about it as an instructional team. We talked about it with the committee. So what we put in place in our application, the committee kind of approved it and we rolled forward with it, put it in the application, is if you are high quality, meaning you've done all the work and you have proven that you're a high quality teacher, you're high quality, uncertified, not in a program, you only get 25%. Like you get a little bit because you did all the work, but you only get 25%. Now, if you're in a program satisfactorily moving forward towards certification, you get 50%. What that does is actually gives the teacher the money to pay for it. We don't have to pay for it. It comes through teacher incentive allotment. Now, it's a little bit of a backwards because they're already in the program, right? So it's a little bit of a backwards payment, but now we actually have a mechanism to help fund a teacher's alternative certification program because they've already proven that they're high quality, right? So then you get certified year 2, then year 3, 4, and 5, you get 100% of that. So what we also know is the school gets the difference of the funds. And so for all the teachers that are helping support that uncertified teacher, then that are already doing all the work, then we're distributing that amongst them. So it doesn't go like to random people. It doesn't go to administrators. It doesn't go to everybody else. It goes to the teachers that are already doing the work. And that's where the balance of the difference, because they're helping that uncertified teacher, right, become high quality. So I think the important things to note are, again, on the teacher incentive allotment. We've been validated. We're moving forward. We should be distributing about $250,000 this summer. So really exciting work. There's also another level of designation. So now there's 4 levels. So they up the upper one with money, and the lower one is kind of getting what this one was. This one's getting what this one was. This one's getting what this one. So it's more money altogether. That starts coming up. So $250,000 for this summer, but then next year's data collection. So the work teachers do next year, the next year we submit it. That next year we could have teachers in a program getting 50% of that allotment for the hard work that they've already proven. Again, if you're not proving that you're high quality, you don't get any of it. So what we thought is this was a way that we could help fund alternative certification programs for high quality teaching assistants.
I'm not a teacher. Is it expensive?
It depends on the program, 5,000 to 8,000. Yeah, and it's 1 year. If you do it right, it's 1 year. So it's a way where we can get, again, up in that PPP, the pathways, right? Where we could have current sitting teaching assistants who have already proven that they're high quality instructionally. They just don't have the certification. And now we have a mechanism to help them pay for that. And a mechanism to help keep them and pay them a whole lot more money, depending on their level, moving forward from that one. So those are 2 big, I think, updates from those 2 different pieces that are really important as we move forward. All right, then the integrated student support systems. Fuller and I actually just had another meeting about this today. She's already jumped forward a whole nother step. So she sent a survey out to staff in February. They reviewed the data. And they're working on next year's initiative leads or initiative priorities. And so what they've talked about is SEL curriculum. They've talked about specific training for staff by grade level. And then they've also talked about some executive functioning training and structures built in. So that'll all flesh out as a part of our P2C work that Tyler's also doing, and also as a part of Jennifer's work as we get ready for stage 2. Engagement was the last couple of years. So as we start to think about maybe what we're going to do, not after next year, but the next year, we're going to kind of make sure that they're all overlaying together and kind of feeding through. So I'm really excited about the ISSS work that she's working on. Academic experience, so that's the strong foundations reading. I will tell you our reading scores are looking pretty incredible at the elementary school. And I don't know whether it's because the curriculum feels more like social studies or because the words they're reading in the curriculum are the same words they're going to read on the state test. Either way, Lauren and her team have done a phenomenal job implementing the curriculum. We're seeing a lot of exciting things come in from kids with the curriculum and their learning and just the way that their gaps are closing and how much they're writing, how interested they are in writing, how they're having on-topic discussions and using text evidence. It's just going really well. And the teachers have just, it's not perfect. There's definitely been bumps in the road. But with Lauren and Jennifer, the way that they've led their team for implementation and the way that the teachers have just bought into the process has been really phenomenal. And they've gotten lots of recognition from the consultants that have come in and to help with this work about just how good it's been this first year. So it's really exciting work. Then a couple of the other ones. This is Whitlark's, the Aligned Expectations for Engaged Classrooms. So we are starting to wrap up this year. Next year will be the final year for the Engaged Classrooms work, and it will be the planning year for the next topic as we move forward. So Jennifer and her team are working on what that will look like. Next year is really differentiated. There's book studies taught by champion level teachers. There's a way that initial teachers, brand new to Rapoport Academy, get kind of caught up in the work we've done the last couple of years. And then Jennifer has built a framework that we can add a different topic into, adjust the content for, and then pick it up and move it forward. So a framework that's able to kind of not exactly rinse and repeat, but pretty much rinse and repeat on topics as we move forward. So it's really exciting. And it does provide that differentiated professional development for teachers. So they'll feel like it's more targeted for what they need based on the level of instruction where they are. So we're excited about kind of even what comes next, even as we finish up this last one. So then the P2C model, you can see that under there. So that's Tyler's. And so you can see some of the summaries. This year was really about cataloging what we're training, what categories that we're doing, and making sure that we are trying to stay true to that tiered instruction on the teacher side, especially. So as we move forward, we're going to be adding trainings for special pops. That's again through Fuller's ISSS lever, but also continuing to look at the quality, how people feel like the training has been, making sure that it's impacting them in a way that they feel is valuable. And then continuing with the non-teaching professional development as we move forward on that. So I think that's kind of step 2. We focused obviously on teachers first, and then we'll move towards with the onboarding work, and then also ongoing PD for non-instructional staff. We'll continue to grow those as well. For finance and operations, YYY is working that we saw a little bit of it. You heard a little bit of it with the finance committee, but they're starting to work on benchmarking against other schools' best practices for our side. I will tell you, their first benchmark they gave me was a little bit scary because their recommendation for charter schools is that your payroll is about 60% of your budget at most, ideally 50 to 55, and ours is 74. So that was really interesting. And so I would love for payroll to be that much because our budget would be that much more, right? Like I would love it for it to be this much. So those are some of the things like they're going to start bringing forward and saying, hey, this is what it looks like. They're also starting to look at projections. So over the last few weeks, they've been digging in with Melanie even more about monthly projections for expenditures, for accounts payable, for payroll, for that sort of stuff as we look forward to next year's budgeting process. So I'm excited to have them on board. They really have their feet underneath them now. We're still working out some of the kinks for like the back office stuff, who's doing what, but it's going a lot more smoothly now, now that we're a couple of months into it. Then we have the master maintenance plan, which includes both facilities and technology. So one of the things you'll see is in June, whenever we bring you an item analysis or itemized budget request for the board, Brownlee has identified a new asset system that will actually help all of the operations team. And it's a nominal expense for what you get on the backside. And so it's everything from lifecycle management, inventory analysis, tech ticket systems, managing how long tech tickets are open, identifying frequent problems. So you can say, hey, we've had to replace 37 batteries of this one type of laptop. Like we should probably look at buying more of those batteries because we know they're going out in mass. Just a lot more management of things. You can also put in your facilities equipment. So your ACs, your heaters, you can put in your mini splits, you can put in your thermostats, whatever it is, you can put it in your inventory analysis. And so it will help create a life cycle management tool for all of the operation side of things. And so we're excited to kind of see what that might look like. But right now what they've done is they've digitized the facilities inventory. They've walked through and identified all the serial codes, the ages, and that all of that for the district. And then done the same on the IT side, just to make sure that we are where we are. And then both of them are working on proactive preventative maintenance, scheduling out for the year on both facilities and IT side, and then standard operating procedures on both. So what are the things that we do when, how do we manage this? How do we manage that? So they're moving forward pretty quickly on those. I've talked a lot, so I'm not necessarily going to go through this one, but you can click on the dashboard if you want to. It should open, but it'll give you some data tracking. Well, I mean, I can click. If it'll go. Oh, don't mess me up. I'll just briefly show you. So as Region 12 is releasing some of the control with us, they are helping us establish a Looker Studio so that we can then navigate our own data points. And so I'll let you guys kind of dig through those in time. Again, you can access this report. It's in your drive. So I gave you the summary. If you want to dig in to any of the other ones, some of the initiatives, specifically the engaged student classrooms or students engaged in the classrooms, then you can kind of dig through some of those. You can see like reflections, things that went strong, I kind of highlighted some of those already, and places where we can build moving forward. So again, then you can look right here at the very end, kind of the things that are coming up, changes that we think we might need to make for the different initiatives. And then you can see the next step back to the end of your assessment. And then the final step back is actually going to be in June, on June 4th. So that is hopefully what we'll do is each quarter we'll bring a similar document back to you. It'll be kind of snippet overviews from each of all those gray initiatives at the bottom. And then as we make big milestones for any of those initiatives, we'll have the initiative lead come in and give you kind of a more formal presentation. If it's continuing work, we'll keep it small, but if there's a big report or a big outcome or big analysis, we'll have that initiative lead come forward. If there's a formal plan that we're putting in place, we'll have them come forward and talk to you. Other than that, each quarter, there'll be these kind of analysis points. Our goal is there's actual measurable metrics for each of these as we move forward, whether it's teacher retention or whether it's student retention or whether it's the estate accountability or whether it's financial stability, whatever it is, cost of operations, right? Like we'll have checkpoints that we'll be able to move forward. Again, our strategic plan is all this is by the end of 29. So all of this isn't going to happen in 26, but there'll be movement all the way through so that by the time we get to 29, these initiatives are well established. Have any questions? That was a lot. I know I talked a lot, but Tyler and Jennifer are right here. Lauren's right here. If you guys have questions about any of their specific initiative leads, but. Oh yeah.
What are the different state champion?
So there's two different things. So on the teacher incentive allotment, so how you get extra money from the state, there's 4 levels. There's acknowledged, recognized, mastery. No, that's the next one. Exemplary mastery. And so you can get as little as a few thousand, as much as 28,000 per year. So that's teacher incentive allotment. Now on the other side, what we have is we call it a pathway to champion. So we have connect, cultivate, and champion teachers. So when someone is brand new to Rapoport or brand new to teaching, we call them a connect level teacher. And we are connecting them with Rapoport, connecting them with instructional strategies, connecting them with like how we do school, like whatever that looks like. Some people move through that very quickly. They've got experience elsewhere. They come in, they're like, oh, this is how you do it. No problem. Some people, it might take them a year or two, like to kind of get their feet up underneath them. Then most of our teachers are going to be in that cultivate. We're cultivating them as a professional. And so they're going to be in that cultivate category, right? Which is like, I'm not a newbie, but I'm not like a high level model teacher yet. I'm in this kind of like general like teaching level. Then when you have a teacher that is somebody that like we would take videos of to use for professional development lessons, right? Like a champion level teacher. That's what that top category is for. We use them to help drive instruction. We use them to help teach other teachers, to be mentors for new people coming in. They're leading some of the book studies. So this year they've learned about the book and how to lead a book study. And next year they're going to lead some of the book studies. So that's on the PD side, the internal side. 2 different levels. Good question. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. So our hope is to give you this roughly every quarter as we move through. You might get an update sooner or right after that if there's a big initiative change or something. But that's our goal, is this will be your kind of quarterly check-in on that strategic plan.
Well, no, I think building it just to get it off the ground is so much work. So hopefully that it'll level off in terms of.
The board will be updated quarterly. How often will staff meet on it? It's like, well, your team.
Like the initiative leads and the cabinet. So we actually talk about it at superintendent cabinet meetings fairly often, but I meet monthly, typically with instructional leads, monthly as or not initiative leads as we're walking through, just to get updates on where we are. And then the superintendent cabinet meets every other week. So the whole district superintendent cabinet, every district level leader and the principals meet every other week by Zoom. Usually it's pretty quick. Sometimes it's in person. And then I meet one-on-one with each lead monthly.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
And there's not an action item.
Yeah. So you mind pulling up the board self-assessment?
No.
So I don't know if I've explained this to you, Mr. Weaver. Every 3 months, we just do a self-assessment through this document. And if you go on the bottom, you can see the names on the bottom and you would find like Weavers down there. So each board member goes to their corresponding, the name, the tab with their name on it and enters a score, 4 being the best, 1 being the worst, or I guess 0. And then it flows through to this overview page. So I'll be quiet. If you have it in front of you, you can take a look at it. It's in the April drive for this meeting.
Dr. Cunningham, I had to change my submitted reports for board meetings in a timely fashion down to 2.
Oh.
So no one got you the reports that you made. Like I need to revise that one.
That, it made me feel better that I wasn't the only one.
Right, with this yeah.
I made it even worse. I was like, oh no, it's like it's everyone. If it was just me, it would.
Getting beat and fire right before my.
Thank you all. I appreciate it. And shout out to Grady. I have to name him. He was the one that,
The only one?
yes,
No, wait, what?
First.
and you. Wait, but
How was that?
did you send me an email? My bad. My bad. I mean, it's in,
Take credit, but if Grady was.
Like, yeah, let me take my credit back.
you're right, Neil, you're right. And it's in the results today. So my bad.
So if you were wondering on the shading, just in case, so the board initially said that they really wanted 3.5 or better. So 3.5 or better is green. And anything that is below a 3 is red. It should work out that way. So 3 to 3 point, above 3.5 is like, it's fine. It's neutral. So the other thing I will just say is this is your document. So if you really feel like for a quarter, it's been bumpy in an area, let it reflect that, right? And if that's someplace that we need to kind of call, the board needs to kind of call each other together on it, I think that's fine. You can see places where we've gone up and down over time. So it is a non-voting item.
Yeah.
For information only or conversation.
Yeah, and I'll just say, I mean, when I schedule, I have to schedule RAPS time on my calendar and that helps me get it done. And the sooner I can do it after, like I try to do it like right after the meeting in those days after our last meeting, that also helps. So any thoughts or questions or comments? I think it's an important thing that we do this every quarter. Out of this. Okay, looks like still we
I don't have
grievance
any particular
hearing.
emails from
Yeah,
the
okay.
grievance.
So we will move on. And
Do we address the grievance if the family does not hear?
I don't think so.
Like, how does that work if it's been filed for the board's review? Do we review it anyway, or do we consider it withdrawn, or do we
I
own it?
can ask our legal counsel really quick.
I'd be curious, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not a different thing where it's addressed.
And could we just take maybe a 5-minute break and let me get an answer back for you guys?
Sure.
Are we, is that the last thing?
That's the last thing I did.
Until the superintendent evaluation. Yeah.
So
Well, we can go ahead and start that and then revisit this when we come back into open session later, if we need to.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, let's do that. So we note the time, 5:54, and we'll stop the recording.
you just need to have a vote to go into closed session.
Thank you. How long have I been doing this?
Was that we go into closed session to discuss the board? Superintendent. Anyway.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. We'll move into closed session. So we'll ask everyone to vacate the room. Mhm. Mhm.
No, I'm trying to figure out how to. Maybe. I
Yeah.
pause, stop recording.
Thank you for letting me interview and everything, and then like 30 minutes later, you sent me the email. I was like,
Get over here now. Yeah. Okay, the recording has started again.
Wonderful. 7:23, we're back in open session. We have postponed agenda item 2 to allow for the person who submitted the grievance the opportunity to present their grievance. I want to confirm that the grievant is not present. So let the record show that we held the meeting and that the date and time was communicated to the grievant in advance. Since they are not here to present their argument, we consider the matter closed and take no additional action. Okay. I also want to note something else, a different topic came up regarding some questions about the TIA, and I'm going to put that on the next board agenda and give you some background for some information that we'll ask for.
Perfect.
I'm just saying that out loud so that that gets discussed at the next meeting. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank y'all for a very good meeting.
Grady, that second was you, right?
Yes.